Welcome to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. The political tug of war between President William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta is one that is not ending any soon. When Raila Odinga jetted into this country from South Africa and he headed straight to Kamkunji for that mega rally, there were several declarations that the Azimio fraternity made, and one of them that has caught the attention of many Kenyans is that the Azimio does not recognize the legitimacy of President William Ruto, and that they don't recognize the entire Kenya Kwanza government. In fact, they called upon the government to vacate office because they say they rigged elections and they are in office illegally. So after that meeting, the immediate former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, is under intense pressure to explain his position, whether he also supports the declaration that William Ruto was not legally elected in office. And if so, then why did he in the first place hand over power to an illegitimate elected government? That is one question that very many people have been asking the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, in his very usual characteristics, you've realized that Uhuru Kenyatta has taken a low profile and he has stayed clear of the politics in the country. Anytime he wants to make his position known, he will either send David Murade or the Secretary General of Jubilee, Jeremiah Kioni. And I think this is because of the roles that Uhuru has been given in Congo as a peacemaker. He does not want to engage in the murky waters of our Kenyan politics. So he knew very well that people are asking his position. So yesterday he sent Jeremiah Kioni, and so Jeremiah Kioni stated very categorically that Uhuru still believes that his president of choice is Raila Odinga, and the only reason why he handed over power, despite the fact that he did not agree with the IEBC verdict, with the court verdict, is because it is a constitutional mandate and that he did not want to plunge this country into anarchy. He did not want to soil his hand with blood.
The fact that Raila Odinga said that Azimio does not recognize Mr. William Ruto as the president, neither do you recognize his administration. We cannot forget that the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, is still the chairman of Azimio. Is this also his take? Because we're trying to imagine that by the time you're coming to make such a declaration, he must have been consulted. Did he agree to these sentiments? And if he did, why did he then hand over the power? What is happening? Because we also had yesterday, former Mukwemi MP Kabando actually state that, all right, so if that is the case, can the handover be reversed? You know, what exactly is Uhuru's opinion on all this?
I think a couple of things, and fast forward, last year, the most important exercise that was before us as Jubilee, with our party leader, with our with our president, the president of the Republic of Kenya then, Uhuru Kenyatta, was to manage the country and to hand over power. You need to know that that's a constitutional mandate. It's a constitutional requirement. And it is the minimum that you can do as a president. So of course he had his preferred candidate. But even when the preferred candidate was not announced by IEBC or the outcome of Supreme Court, the first thing he did was to call us and tell us we will still hand over power. That's what he did. He actually said, I will go to Kasarani. I know they will insult me, they will heckle, but I will do the decent thing. I do not want any bloodshed when I'm in power. And he also said, we respect what the courts have said, but we don't accept it.
So can we or can we not conclude that Azimio's sentiments are also the former president's?
The words of the president when he handed over power, before and after, and he made it public. He didn't say behind the closed doors. He said, I'm handing lakini kiongozi wangu ni Raila Amolo Odinga, and I want to leave it at that.
If you listen carefully to the sentiments of Jeremiah Kioni, you will agree with me that one of the things that will go down in the annals of history, when history will be written, is that Uhuru Kenyatta is a peace-loving Kenyan. Despite the fact that he had his presidential candidate, and he was the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, and he had the deep state, he still decided to hand over power to his then opponent. Because you all know that Uhuru Kenyatta wanted Raila Odinga to become the president. But when the IBC did not declare Raila, and then the case went to court, and the court ruled in favor of IEBC, Uhuru had the choice, like many other African countries have done. In the countries where you see civil war, it begins with a sitting president trying to clinch to power because either he has been defeated or his candidate has not been declared as the winner. And now that because they always have the sword and they control the military, they use that position and the advantage to ensure that they don't hand over power. And then before you know it, we are in a civil war and innocent blood is being shed. So whether you hate Uhuru or not, this is one thing that you cannot take away from him, that he handed over power very peacefully. And that is the reason maybe why you are still alive today, because it's always very bad. If you've watched how those countries, the war escalates and people are dying and others are being displaced from their matrimonial land. So you will agree with me that on this, Uhuru Kenyatta scored very high. The second thing that is really happening, Uhuru is really denting the image of William Ruto. William Ruto has been grappling with legitimacy issues. He knows very well that there are question marks on how he was elected, on the verdict of the Supreme Court. In fact, if you listened to Madam Martha Koome, immediately she did that ruling that gave William Ruto a substantive win. She kept on tweeting. That means that she was also suffering from a guilty conscience. So William Ruto knows very well that there is an 8 million people who do not recognize him as the president. In fact, the only thing that helps him is that the constitution gives him the power to be recognized as the president. But as Martha Karua said, as Raila Odinga said, they don't recognize. It's only the constitution. So if there is one person whom they really want to accept their presidency, is Uhuru Kenyatta. But today Uhuru Kenyatta has refused. So by sending Jeremiah Kioni to make those sentiments that Uhuru's president of choice before, during and after election is Raila Amolo Odinga, is something that is going to be very painful for William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And in fact, you will see more intense attempt to demonize Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think the reason why Uhuru Kenyatta cannot even forgive the duo is because they keep on, maligning Uhuru Kenyatta. They say he wanted to kill Chebukati, he wanted to kill Dennis Itumbi, while you all know very well that if Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to kill Dennis Itumbi, for example, he would have done it. I don't think there is anything that could have barred him from doing it. So Uhuru Kenyatta is actually a very disappointed man, and that is why even if he wanted to forgive Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto, it would not be very easy. The other time, the clergy in Mount Kenya wanted to bring them together. The Council of Elders also wanted to bring them together. But Rigathi Gachagua will just wake up one morning and he goes to church and starts saying just quite a lot about Uhuru Kenyatta. This does not go down well with him. Now, after that Kamkunji rally, there are divided opinions. There is a school of thought that feels that Raila should move on, that elections are behind us. But there is another school of thought that feels that we must fight for our rights as a nation, because even in the first and second liberation just took place when people went to the streets and people held rallies. Some people even lost their lives. So if there is one thing that William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua wanted was to see Uhuru Kenyatta distancing himself from the sentiments of Raila Odinga and from the arrangements that they will attend even Jakaranda rally on Sunday. But Jeremiah Kioni is now making it very categorical that Uhuru is in full support of everything that is happening in Azimio, and that they don't question what the party leader has said. So this gives Raila Odinga a lot of strength and impetus even as he arranges for more rallies. On the very day when Raila attended the Kamkuji rally, William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua hurriedly called for a meeting of the Jubilee elected members, and they did not attend that rally, and they wanted to show the nation that Jeremiah Kioni is on this course alone. Uhuru Kenyatta is pursuing this course alone. The other leaders like Kanini Kega and Sabini Chege are not with them. But not all that notwithstanding, Jeremiah Kioni was there, and Uhuru Kenyatta has stated that he is in full support of this. And I can assure you that despite the brave facial facade that they are making, they really have a lot going on within their mind. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the position of Uhuru Kenyatta, and Jeremiah Kioni has made it very clear that it was a constitutional mandate and Uhuru did not want bloodshed. That is why he handed over power. But as it is, he still recognizes Raila Odinga as his president of choice. But I want to say this. I really wish that the leaders would come together and unite this nation. When the country is united, there is a peaceful environment even for development. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but that is my take.